Okay, so I am here with Anna Karina and Ryan, and they are going to be deciding where they want to live in San Diego. Okay, so now starting the real facilitation. Hi, Anna Karina and Ryan. My name is Jana, and so during this meeting we're going to try and come to a conclusion about where you guys would like to live in San Diego. And so, before we get started, I want to talk about a couple of ground rules for our facilitation. Number one is I need you both to test your assumptions and inferences with each other. Many times you think that the other person is assuming something, but it's not always the case. Number two, share all relevant information that the other person needs to know in order to make a decision. Number three, use specific examples and agree on what important words mean. Number four, explain your reasoning and intent. I feel like that's self-explanatory. Number five, focus on interests, not positions. So for example, on that one, if say you wanted to buy a new car, an interest would be maybe to have a reliable car. A position would be that you need a Toyota Camry. So, interests, needs.
Needs versus wants?
Yes. Yes. Or I guess a want, any interest, just an interest, not necessarily a specific solution. Right.
Oh.
Right. Perfect, thank you. Number six, combine advocacy with inquiry. So pretty much just express your point of view, back it up, and invite the other person to agree or disagree and why. Number seven, come up with what we're gonna do next steps, and that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
Maybe.
Okay.
In a bit.
Okay. And so I'll remind you if I feel like there's something that comes up that we're not following a ground rule, I'll help us follow that. So, to start out, Anna Karina, would you like to tell us a little bit about where you would like to live in San Diego and maybe why?
Well, I'm not really sure where I want to live. That's
Okay.
part of the problem. We're not very familiar with the area since we've never lived there. We've gone there as, tourists and done fun things, but never really focused on the different areas. And so I just want to make sure, there's all these different areas, lots of suburbs. We are pretty sure, we've already talked a little bit that we don't want to live in like downtown San Diego or anything, with the kids, but there's a lot of different suburbs and we're not sure kind of where to live. And so, one of the things that I've wondered about is just renting, someplace and then being able to experiment with an area without actually committing to, a mortgage and a house payment and everything. So,
Okay.
kind of some thoughts.
Okay, perfect. How about you, Ryan?
What are my thoughts on it?
Yeah, where would you like to live in San Diego? What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I agree that there is some concern on where we should live, but I guess I have more concern with renting versus buying if we're just going to be buying a house at a time anyway, just because then we have to move twice, and I would rather just be settled.
So you're interested in being settled?
I'm very interested in being settled. Change is kind of hard, and so I think we're obviously, if we were renting, we'd be setting ourselves up for change. Inevitable change rather than just a one-time event.
Okay. Okay, so Ryan, you said that you're interested in settling because of the change. Like, what change are you referring to and why is that important to you?
Like knowing where, just getting a feel for where you're at, and you kind of know where everything is that you use and go to and places. Like where we live now, we know exactly kind of where we go for everything and what we do and kind of get into a routine, and I feel like you have to redo all of that, and it's fine because I think it will be nice. I think we've agreed we want to live in San Diego, but do we really want to have to learn where the grocery stores are, and then I'm going to be lost all the time? I don't do so well with directions either.
So that's hard.
It's very hard.
So, Anna Karina, what do you think about that? About his, maybe desire to buy a house or as opposed to rent? Like, what do you think the advantages or disadvantages are of?
I mean, I do think that that's an advantage of, you know, obviously it's a lot of work to move as we're figuring out right now, and, you know, it takes a lot of time and all, you know, figuring out different areas and everything like that. I guess the disadvantage to renting as well is, you know, you're paying money and it's not going towards, you know, not paying down a house or anything, so there's that part of it. But I'm just really nervous about all of the different areas, and so I mean I think that we should try and narrow down. I wouldn't want to just rent in any area. I would want to rent at least in some place that we would seriously consider buying, hopefully. But just knowing that it's the option that if the commute ends up being too crazy, or we don't like the schools that the kids are in, or, you know, the area for whatever other reason, then we can just move to a different area. I think that, and we don't really know a lot of people down there that are super familiar with the area, but we will, you know, in time, know more people that have opinions and can share those with us. So, I mean, yeah, there's a good chance that it wouldn't be that same area, but it could happen. We could rent in an area that we end up liking and want to stay there. But it's very possible that we'd end up, you know, going to a different area again too.
Okay. So I guess really, so my question is, I feel like we've gotten a little bit of focus on positions like renting or buying versus renting. So I guess my question would be like, what are your interests as far as like, so your interest would be like find somewhere good for your family, or interest would be like to save money, something like that. Like, what are your base concerns, goals?
I think being an area that seems safe after we'd been down there as less than just tourists, there's definitely some areas that we wouldn't feel like safe letting the kids run around the street, or safe us even going out there and walking around. And then I think also kind of the same, kind of an area that's more kind of well planned out, kind of like where we live right now, that like everything is kind of somewhat self-contained. You don't have to go all over, and there was a thought to it. So, and then also I guess there's I don't know, you know, there's a certain level of I guess a certain kind of house that we would want as well. Something that has a yard, which is a concern because we want to be able to let the kids out in the yard and play.
Okay. Can you think of anything else?
I think for me as well, you know, Ryan kind of talked about the safety, but also the school systems. You know, we ended up in a really good school district here on accident pretty much, but you know, now with Naya being the age to go to school, then it's important. And as we've looked, you know, online and researched it, they range a lot. You know, there's definitely some schools in some areas that are better than others, and so that's a concern.
Okay.
I also don't want a huge crazy commute. I'll be the one commuting. Ryan's gonna have the opportunity to work from home, so I don't want anything that's gonna take more time away from, you know, the kids than necessary either.
So how do you feel like, when are you moving?
I'm moving this weekend, and then Friday the kids are some weeks later maybe. We don't know really. Like 2 to 3 weeks probably,
Okay,
somewhere
but
there.
weeks around there. So it's not months.
No.
So do you feel like, considering the time, consideration and everything, like how do you feel like you can solve this? Like, do you feel like you have time to buy a house, or like what are the pros and cons as far as time goes?
There's no time to buy a house at this point. So we would have to live an extended amount of time in an extended hotel situation if we were
Like a
to
year?
for like
No, not that bad.
no, but
Probably a couple months.
couple months.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay. So, like, what do you feel like is a realistic option for you guys right now?
I think 6 months is probably a realistic option, but there's some concerns with that because you can't rent. It's harder to find houses that are willing to rent for 6 months.
Okay.
Because sometimes apartments are, but it's harder to find houses. Because landlords, obviously, if they can get somebody that'll sign a year or two, why would they go with 6 months?
Right. Right. So do you, like, what do you feel like, what do you guys think that you should do at this point?
At this point,
Yeah.
where she's gonna be there in 4 days and I'm gonna be there in 2 weeks,
Sure.
probably rent a house.
Okay. So do you have a game plan of, like, how you're gonna find a house to rent, or find, you know, a safe neighborhood, or, like, what do you wanna do now?
We're going to take a trip down there. I already looked a little bit when I went and interviewed with the company and drove around and talked to Ryan a little bit about some of the different areas that I liked. And I mean, we've been looking at houses online even to just understand the areas and kind of what type of houses are in different areas. Just to research and understand that more. So yeah, I looked some, but then I want Ryan to feel more comfortable with the area as well, so we're gonna take a trip together.
That'll be good.
Leave the kids with our really nice sister,
Perfect.
so we can get more done. Because everybody knows you don't get anything done with a 5 and a 2-year-old.
Right. So you mentioned a yard is important for you. What other aspects of a house are important?
Right,
A
she's
swimming pool.
Swimming pool.
It's a necessity. It's California. How can you not have a swimming pool?
Okay, so that's
And a hot
definitely interest of yours.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Location.
Oh, close to work, you had said earlier.
And then to good school district or good school for Naya.
Okay. And you can just find that information online, or how do you plan on? Okay.
They have rating systems apparently for California schools.
Okay. Excellent. So when is your trip to San Diego?
This weekend.
Okay. Excellent. Well,
It's
good.
this weekend.
Good. Good.
Whenever I'm told.
Right.
Good. Well, I feel like we accomplished a lot in this. Sounds like you've decided to rent, and that you have some ideas of, like, stepped plans made for the future. And that you're gonna go this next weekend to San Diego, look for some homes. You have lots of different interests. It sounds like you'll be able to meet. And do you have any other questions or things you'd like to resolve?
I don't think so, do you?
As long as we have a swimming pool.
I hope that works out. Yeah, it's hard because that was another thing, is to find a place for a dog, as we looked online, that's really hard, turns out.
Right.
Because obviously, people are selling their house, they don't care if you have a dog, but if they're renting it, there's more concern there, and a lot of places didn't want pets. They're not leaving the dogs, so. And a lot of places don't have a backyard, or they'll say have concrete, which isn't super helpful.
Right.
So it'll be a challenge to meet all the different interests that we have.
But you're confident that you could accomplish that.
I think so.
Nice. Well, I wish you the best of luck. We'll meet next week to see how it went.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Anna Crane and Ryan.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jana.